Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Casey. I've been here for a little while. I've had, over the last 30 days, I had a little procedure done, affected my voice, kind of held me back a little bit. I think we're ready to go today. The information I have is so important, it cannot wait. We need to talk about market conditions. The market is changing, and so we got to talk about it, whether I stumble or not. Okay, you're going to have to live with it today. All right. Let's take a look at a few things. First of all, the first screen I want you to look at is this. Now, this lovely lady sitting next to me is Morgan. She is my daughter. She is the key of our success in Vienna. And the reason I want to talk about this is because what we're going to say is very important, and you need to know that at least we know what we're talking about. So we do $32 million in the first half of 2025. That is more business, over 1.5 million, than all the agents of Keller Williams combined. Morgan single-handedly does more business than all Compass agents combined, all of them, when you talk about our market. So I've asked Morgan to come and talk about some serious strategies today. I'm going to go over market conditions, but both are very important. All right. Let's talk about the market conditions. And this is what people need to know. Where we've been, what the window is of where we're going. Now, in 2014, and these are Fairfax County resale inventory. In 2014, there were 6,500 houses. This is the Obama administration. And when Obama was done, we were up to about 7,500 homes per month. Now, I don't count 2017 because that's a transitional year. When a new administration is taking effect, there's a lot of turbulence, but their effects will show in years 2 through 4. So when Trump came in, we started about 7,400. We moved up to about 8,155. So this is important. That's the inventory of homes that were placed on the market in Fairfax County during that period. Now look at 2022 and 23 and 24. That's how serious it's been from what's happened in our market. This is not about politics. This is about inventory. This is about what the real estate market has done, where we are, and where we're going. So you need to know, you need to take a picture of that graph to know where should the market be. I know where it is. It sucks. But where should it be? It should be up in the 7,800 to 8,000 range, but instead it's in the 5,500 range. So how does that affect what happened in our market? This is really wild. The price of a 3,500 square foot home in 2014 was about 1.1 million. The price of a $3,000 home in 2020, 7 years later, was 1.1 million. It had gone up zero. It had appreciated $0. Why? The inventory was building so much that it kept prices down. As inventory goes up, prices will remain low. Okay? As inventory went down at the end of the Biden years, as inventory went down, values went up, prices went up. So it went, considering for 7 years it didn't go up at all. In 2 years, it went up $400,000. 2 years. And everybody kind of got caught off guard that they're rising crazy. It's because the inventory is going down. Now, interest rates went up. So you'll see 2023, sales were down, everything was down in 2023. And 2024 rebounded back to 1.54 million, okay? So let's be clear. When inventory goes up, prices go down or remain stable. When inventory goes way down, prices go up dramatically. That is what we've just seen. This is what we just lived through. For those of you that thought you were going to commit suicide in 2023, that's it right there. For Donnie Samson, who was, he'd come in, he's sitting on the ledge getting ready to jump off of the 5th story. This is why. Inventory was down, and that was interest rates were way up. Look at the prices that people were paying for houses of their mortgage payment. In 2016, if you bought that house, you'd pay $4,300. In 2020, you'd pay $3,900. You're paying less money per month for that house in 2020 than you were back in 2017. Actually, what you were in 2014. Look at what people are paying today. For the same house, you've gone from $3,900 in 4 years to $8,304. That's the effect of today's interest rates. Now, that's important to know because we're looking at it and going, where are the buyers at? Well, where are the buyers at? That number right there is the cause of it.
They're still in their old house with their low interest rates.
They're still in their house with low interest rates, right? So let's take a look at where we're going. Well, if we just take a look at a normal average rebound in our inventory, it should be somewhere up at about 7,700. So what is that going to do over the next year to prices? They're not going up, right? They're flat, or they should go down. But I will tell you this, that sellers and the price of their home are like a dog with a bone. It is hard to get that bone away from that dog. So it's hard to get the prices down, right? Most sellers will not drop the price. Well, as you're going to see, that's why most sales are going to fail. Most people that are trying to sell their home are going to fail to sell in the upcoming years, okay? So just so we're clear on this right here, that chart says it all. It says when inventory is up, prices are stable. When inventory is down, prices go through the roof. It's coming back. And I'm going to show you why, how we know. So we talk about that, a window to the future. How do you know what's coming back? Well, because I follow it every week. Every week these charts come out. So if you look, and again, I'm going to stay with Fairfax County. No, we do Loudoun County, Arlington, Prince William, but let's stay with Fairfax County so we can be consistent. Fairfax County went from 8,300 last year to 9,600 this year. So is it coming back? Yeah. Is it? Is it great? No. Look at 2019 to 2022. We are so far behind, folks. It's crazy. On inventory. So is the inventory powering back? Not really. I'm going to show you why in a second. Look at the sales, the year-to-date sales, okay? Fairfax County had 12,100 sales in 2021. This year, 6,700. Almost half, cut in half. Why are the sales so bad? $8,300. The inventory has gone up a little bit, but the interest rates have not moved. You're still at 6.5%. I got my lender in the back room, and all he does is get on with us all the time, Mike Filan, and tell us how the interest rate's going. But I'm telling you, it's a dark world in the interest rate world. So, if you look at Fairfax, who needs to know this? Sellers. I'm sitting down with a seller. Well, John and Mary's house sold for $1.5 million last year. Actually, at 1.5. I think mine is nicer. You got to know this. There's market going. It's moving. And if you can't explain this, if sellers don't understand the dynamics of the real estate market, they are in big trouble. And that's in the next screen. This screen is the success rate per year per county. Success rate is if 100 homes are put on the market, how many of those homes are going to sell? Well, in 2000, look at it, from 2020 to 2024, pretty much they all sold. At least 85, 90% of them sold, right? The homes were selling because at the time there was no inventory. That was it. If you want to buy a house, you're going to pay $8,300. Sorry, you're just going to pay $8,300. So the inventory drove that success rate to its highs. Now, today, with inventory coming back, look at where the success rates are. 7 out of 10 homes are selling. Now that's year to date. That's January 1 to today. Only 70% of the homes, 69% of the homes in Fairfax County sold. That were listed are either under contract, pending, or sold. That's incredible. Again, who needs to know about this? Buyers and sellers. If I'm a buyer, look, buyers should go out and make a killing. Buyers should be out in the market and going after some of these homes. They were priced here, and now you can go in and get them here, right? You can go in and say, look, I know you want $1.5 million, but your house is only worth $1.35. I'll give you $1.35 million. Now, because you're not competing and there's not multiple contracts, you're going to get the $1.35. She does. She'll go in and we'll price it, and she'll walk in and go, yeah, I know what you want, but this is what my dad says it's worth.
What's important with buyers is when you find a home that's been sitting, they didn't price it right, they didn't prepare it right, that's the opportunity for buyers to then come in and get a better deal because they did it wrong to begin with, and now they're chasing the market, and then that's when we can come in. That's what we try to save our sellers from doing, but when we're working with buyers, I mean, that's where the opportunity is.
That's where the leverage is. Okay? All right. Now, how in the heck? Let's look at this. This is pretty serious stuff. So we put this out every week on CaseySamson.com. On the lower right, forget about the top. The top is all the counties versus 2024, and 2024 sucked. That doesn't matter. What is the bottom one? When you look at what we're doing this year, our sales, our inventory combined, say, what is that compared to the last 6 years? Our sales are down 30%. 30%. We're down 30%. That is a massive shock to the system where we are. High interest rates, low confidence. I'm going to talk about confidence in a minute. So where are we? That's where we are. We are probably at and I don't mean to say a bleak area. Some people are winning. We put houses on and they sell.
Yeah.
Still sell. We get buyers get a great deal on some houses. So if you know what is going on in the market, then you still can win.
And for good houses, there's still a lot of competition. I mean, we've put on, one offers a couple months ago that had 8 offers on the house. We were the winning bid, but that still shows how competitive it can still be for the right home that's priced right in the right condition.
And the important thing is, when we go in and look at a house, you can look at a customer house is worth $1.4 million. This exact happened to Morgan. She had a client. I said the house is worth $1.95 million. But if you're in a bidding situation and it's really updated, it's usually worth about $2.1 million. She went in at $2.1 million, got the contract. The buyers didn't overpay for it, but that was the winning bid.
Yeah, there were multiple contracts. They wanted this house. We weren't messing around. The agent was smart because she said highest and best, which when I'm representing a buyer, I don't like. I like to do escalations, but it was a smart move on her. So we came in 2-1 and were able to lock it up.
Right.
So because of the pricing, showing
so
us
knowing
that's where
the pricing, knowing what a home is worth in updated condition in the bidding war is very important to helping your client understand. If you pay $2.1 million, you are not overpaying for this house. That's what it's worth. Yeah. Okay. This is an important chart. I'm going to see if I can explain this. Go down to the bottom and you pick the dates. You go down to 2016. Now, we have the Trump administration is in right now, so that's the one I'm going to focus on. In 2016, for the first portion, Trump is a disruptor. Trump is somebody that shocks the system. And that's why you have to let whatever's going to happen for a little bit. So in 2016, you saw the shock to the system, and then eventually look at the consumer confidence rise. As the consumer confidence rose, people felt more comfortable about putting their house on the market and buying homes. That's what we have to look forward to. Now, look at where he was right now in 2024, 2025. You see that big zoom where it went down like that? See where it went down? Very, very dramatically. That is tariffs.
Yeah.
That is when we were on a happy little upward swing in March and April. It was wonderful. Inventory was up 50%. Everybody felt great. It was happening, right? Interest rates were inching down a little bit. Everything was wonderful. And then he used the word tariffs. And he said he was going to charge Japan, China 150%. The stock market plummeted. Consumer confidence plummeted. He was negotiating, and he scared the shit out of the public.
And we felt it too. I mean, we were launching multiple houses every week. So, I mean, we pretty much, have our hand on the pulse of what's going on day to day. And that 1 week, we all just felt it, that something shifted. Homes that we thought would go for way higher than they actually did. I mean, we still got multiple offers, but, we were shocked that it didn't hit a certain number that possibly if we had gone off 3 weeks before, it might have hit. So
we can stand up and go, he's just negotiating. Yeah. Settle down. He's just negotiating. Settle down. Didn't work. The inventory went down, and before you know it, we had a problem. Now, we're still up 15%, 18%. We were up 50 to 60%. That's where we started. I was going, Donnie, dude, we're up 50%. Now we're up 18, and it's because of that thing right there, that consumer confidence. So there's two things to look at where we're headed, right? One is the consumer confidence, and two is the interest rates. They are going to be the drivers of what's happening in the future, okay? Now, let's start with consumer confidence. The tariffs got us into this. He just settled with the EU that, again, the EU is charging us a lot of tariffs. We were charging them none. Now, we're getting 15% tariffs. They're getting zero. They get zero. The deal he put on Europe and on Japan, people are just scratching their head. But that is the prototype of what everybody else has to apply to. Now they're going to apply that to the other deals that people are starting to settle with the United States. So what is happening of the fear of the tariffs all came true. It is not running up inflation. Inflation is 2.5%. It is putting money in the coffers. It's working. EU, who's the second biggest economy, is now teamed up with us. And so is Japan. And so you're going to see one after another after another. The prototype has been set. So I think, again, not from a political standpoint, but from an economic standpoint, I think the consumer confidence will settle down. Everybody will start getting a little more excited about the way things are going. Again, he's a disruptor. That's what he does. That's what he negotiates. But if it starts working, and it looks like it's starting to work, so we have to watch how the tariffs are all coming in. But I'm telling you, the one I was watching was the EU. If he gets the EU, they all got to follow. So I'm assuming that path of that consumer confidence is going to follow that path right over there, 2017, 18, 19, 20. And if that happens, then it's not a 7,700 unit inventory, it's an 8,500 unit inventory. Because let me go back real quick. If you look at 2022, 2023, and 2024, there is a lot of pent up supply. That is the supply of homes coming on the market. That is people that wanted to sell but decided not to. That's pent up supply. If I'm wrong, the 7,700 is 8,500 or 9,000. When that happens, realtors, we're going to be thrilled. Thrilled. Houses are coming on the market left and right. But like 50% will sell. The rest are wasting their time. Because as the inventory comes back, as interest rates go down, prices will get soft and come down. That's just the way the market works. That's just the way it works. So if a seller is going to come on the market and doesn't understand the dynamics of supply, of inventory, and interest rates, and consumer confidence, then he's bound to lose. They've got to listen to what's going on. Everybody make sense, everybody? Okay? This is not, it's not Casey Samson, well, I'm going to predict the future. I'm laying out the foundation of why is it going to do that. I can tell you, what I can tell you is sales right now are down 23%. Or 28%.
Which means if you're going to go out, you've got to do it right.
Right. All right? So we are very cautious when we're going out. Now, let's talk to a seller. Thinking about selling my house. Thinking about waiting. Really? Well, let me show you the 7,700 unit inventory that's on the way. As soon as more houses come on the market, that value is going to go from 1.5 to 1.4. If you don't like 1.45, you're going to hate 1.35.
And that's the thing that we have continued to say to sellers where, they'll fight us on pricing and everything that we have to say, no matter how many times we'll prove it. And at the end of the day, it comes down to if you don't like $2 million, you're really going to hate when it's in the 1.9s and then 1.8s.
Or 1.8.
So you're going out on top. If we do it right, this is what we think we can get right now. If we wait, it could just go down and down, the more inventory comes on.
All right, so it is critically important that the sellers realize the excess profits we have obtained over the last 3 or 4 years and the perilous point we're at with those profits. They could be going down like this. So get on the market, get it sold, reasonable price, and then what I want to talk about here in a second is getting the condition correct. Let me show you prices in our market. I had a $3,500,000 house I just priced. 3,500 square feet, built in 2000. It was worth $1.44 million in 2023. It went up to $1.59. That's what they were selling for in the spring of 24. In the fall of 25, they fell about 5%, 6%. In the fall of 24. See, in the spring, they built up a little bit, but never got back to the spring of 24. Now look what's happened. They've fallen 5% in just the last 45 days.
And this is so important too, because when you're talking to sellers and they're saying, well, so-and-so's house sold for this, and this is what we expect, and that's what a lot of homes, they do, and that's why you see some sitting and they're not selling, and that's what we look for when I'm representing a buyer. That's what we try to educate sellers on, is knowing that when the market changes, we've got to change with it, or else, we're screwed. We can't compare ourselves to spring of 24 or even right now, spring of 25. We have to compare ourselves to what's happening right now.
Sometimes, if we want to buy that house for 1.5, we need to educate the seller on why it's really worth 1.5, not 1.85 anymore. 1.15. Our job as realtors and as our team, our job is to explain market conditions and prices and where we are in the cycle. Okay.
And it's not easy to tell sellers that. I mean, we want you to get the most amount of money for your home, but our job is to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. And I think, some realtors don't do that. They're willing to kind of let the sellers run the show and put it on where they think or want it to sell for. But at the end of the day, we just have to stay on top of the market and price it where it is at that moment in time.
That is a market discussion I have with every seller. Now we come to the condition of the house. And the reason why I brought that up and brought Morgan in here was the last 4 listing appointments I was on, I always compete with other agents. And I hear a lot. The other agents said, I don't have to fix up my house. I don't have to paint it. Now, get this. The paint hadn't been touched in 12 years. The kitchen hadn't been touched in 20 years. They had gold hardware. They had old lighting fixtures.
And sometimes agents will come in and they'll say, someone will want to do their own thing. And that's just simply, that's not how you get people in the door, because a buyer's going to look at it and the seller doesn't want to paint. Well, guess what? The buyer doesn't either. And they want to have it, not exactly turnkey. They're going to do certain things to it, but it has to be presentable when they're looking online. Now, buyers, they're just looking, it has to catch their eye. If they see a gold,
If they see
fixture
that
from the
lighting fixture, they're not coming.
1990s, they're just going to scroll right by, because immediately it just triggers that it's dated. But all of a sudden, if you've got new paint, it's clean, you put a new light fixture in there, all of a sudden it's triggering that that's updated, even though all you've done is paint and do a new light fixture. It makes a huge difference, because the only way people are going to come see the house is whether they see the picture and they want, to
They're not
go
coming.
see it in person.
We've got fewer buyers out there to fight for. We have more inventory, more competition, and people don't want to fix up their house.
And buyers
Agents
don't
say
have a lot
don't
of,
do it.
Yeah, buyers don't have a lot of vision either. I mean, I've done this so many times where I've even been with buyers and we've walked into other houses and I'm trying to explain to them, no, this is good. It's only the paint that they didn't do the fixture, and they just couldn't get over the fact that there was yellow paint. It just felt dated to them. It's the feeling, because that's what is going to drive a lot of buyers' decisions is, an emotional feeling or connection towards the home. Unless you're going into it knowing that you want a home that needs to be gutted and updated and you want to do it, the buyer doesn't want to do it. So it makes a huge difference.
We're looking at a listing of $1.8 million in Oakton, and I noticed that there's 4 houses listed, neither one of them is sold. Now, is it a bad market? Those are the houses on the left-hand side. Look at what the I guess that's the dining room looks like. Does that look like an updated house to you? The house over here on the left, or on the top, has sconces, and I mean that's just a very old, dated look. So are the houses? Is it a problem that people aren't coming back to look at them? Well, they look terrible. You've got to look like that. You have to have the paint correct. You must have lighting fixtures. You must have the right hardware on the doors. And like I tell the sellers, I would love it if you tell me to sell this house as is. Love it. Why? Well, Morgan doesn't have to do any work.
Yeah.
We don't have
Much
to come out
easier
and
on
paint
me
it.
if I didn't have to run contractors around.
Get quotes, run contracts, do carpet, paint, swap out some countertops with some Taj Mahal, granite. We don't have to do any of that. Throw a sign in, I don't care.
It's way
I
more.
love that.
It's way more work with us having to come, do the to-do list, pick out the light fixtures, do all that, but we do it because we know that it's worth it. I mean, it's like, why even take the listing if it's gonna look like this? We're gonna sit on the market, then you're gonna be upset, and then we're gonna be chasing the market. It's just a nightmare.
Bottom line is, if you spend $25,000, you're gonna make $125,000 or $150,000. So if it's paint, if it's hardware, if it's lighting fixtures,
Decluttering.
7 and 10 return on your investment. Sometimes the countertops are awful. You need to swap those out, or something needs to be done to the house because it's more competitive to get the buyers today.
And I mean, certain things where, we always say, don't do huge capital improvements, don't redo a kitchen or something like that. However, there are times where we're gonna be asking for a big price, and people looking in that price range, they're expecting, a bathroom that isn't totally dated or a kitchen that is a little updated. So, switching out the old granite for a new quartz that now matches, still the same cabinets, but with the quartz, they now have that nice gold vein through them where it's just kind of tying together. There's certain updates that you can do to make it look like a completely updated kitchen or a master bath. We've done that a few times in the last few months, and it's worked out beautifully.
I always say that the success, when you go back to that first chart, we did more business in Vienna, over 1.5 million, than all Compass agents combined. The key to the success is Morgan and Colby and Kelly, who come in and fix up a house and sell at top dollar. When that happens, everybody wants to work with us. The other houses sit and don't sell, our houses go on and sell. The whole key is there are a group of agents that have been around for a while, dinosaurs I call them. Everybody heard their name, knows who they are. They're very, well-known agents. Those are the old agents that don't want to fix up the house. They're tired. I don't want to do it.
Or they don't know what to do. I mean,
I
they
don't-
don't know the right paint
I
colors.
don't have any idea.
I do.
Looks good to me. I can't tell you how many
You know
times
how
I
many
walked out of the house and said, it looks good to me.
It took a bunch of back and forth when the beginning stages of him being, oh, it looks fine. And I'm like, I'm going to cut in right now. It does not look fine. Don't listen to him. So now we've kind of gotten in the groove because there was a lot of times where you've said, oh, I think it's fine. And
I've
it's not
acquiesced control that I have seen enough. If there's a reason why we've had any success, it's yes, we price, yes, we got the market conditions, but it's the way Morgan or Colby or Kelly come in and prepare a house that makes them sell. And they know everything. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm like, I was sitting in a house, 6,600 square feet above grade, big boy, big house. And I'm looking at the walls, look a little yellow, a little yellow. And I'm like, oh, please, Morgan, don't say it. I really want the listing. And the guy's saying, I'm not painting, I just painted. And I'm going, God, I want this listing. Don't say it, Morgan, don't say it. Of course, Morgan goes, oh, we're definitely gonna paint. Yeah, we gotta repaint the whole thing. Yeah, that's the wrong color. She holds up the phone. I swear this happened. Holds up the phone, takes a picture of the wall, looks at the husband and goes, that's what your walls look like. And it looked dingy. And he's like, okay. And we did it, and we got 90,000 more than I thought we could get. So it was such a success that I started saying, all right, I'm gonna shut up when it comes to fixing up a house. And so that's why I talk about partnerships on every deal that I do. You need to have a partner that sees what you don't see, and they can fix that up. If you're not fixing houses up correctly or not spending time figuring out what you need to do, that's a weakness.
And it kind of, another point is there's a lot of things that you shouldn't do. So we'll come in and people are already gotten quotes for a brand new master bath, doing this, doing that, and it's like, no, it'll look great, but you're not going to get that money back.
Right.
If you're planning to do it now and then sell in 5 years and you get to enjoy it, well, sure, do that. But if you're going to put all this money into then just trying to turn it around and sell it, and then you're trying to get this huge number just because you put this, it's not going to work out.
We had a couple of asses come out and said, Michael and Sons wanted to do new kitchen, new bathrooms. And it was $180,000. And so they asked me to come out. They weren't even going to sell the house, but should we do it? And I looked at him and said, looked at the husband and said, take the 180 grand and go buy a boat. I mean, you're wasting your money, but at least you have a little bit more fun in the boat than you are with that kitchen and bathrooms, because they were above the customary value already. There's no reason to touch that kitchen or those bathrooms. Okay? Go buy a boat. Throw the money in the water. What the hell? But don't waste money on that. It's not. Now, the other day we go to a house, countertops are awful. Yeah, swap them out. Put in some granite, not quartz, granite. The right granite would make it pop. So there are sometimes we break our rules. We swap out and get a frameless glass in a bathroom, or put some marble on somewhere. But rarely do we do capital improvements.
And it's about being thoughtful, like you just mentioned, where it's put the granite and not the quartz, because there's some kitchens where you're not even at customary. We're just trying to get you to customary value to compete with this and get a certain price point. And if you came in and only swapped out quartz, it would just look totally off. The kitchen, it would just look like a sore thumb in the kitchen, but there is like an updated granite that's a step above yours. It's not going to cost a lot, but it'll make it all flow and go together, because
Right.
The worst thing you could do is try to do an update, and now it looks worse than it did before, even though one part is updated.
Key word. If you look at your granite and it's got pink in it, it's time to go. You got to swap that out. The next step, and I'm going to close this up, but the next step is really the home inspection. Now that buyers have control, there's more that want home inspections. You must do the home inspection yourself. Get it done. Have your 100-page report ready to go.
So, Yeah,
Good.
Colby and I, we make sure all of our sellers, hands down, do this no matter what. Because why it's so important is, like you just said, everyone's gonna want a home inspection, and they are so happy when we say, hey, we've already done our inspection, here you go. They look at it, they drop their contingency and go with ours because it's a very thorough report. And when we are doing the home inspection, if there is a big issue, we obviously wanna know about it first so we can address that. So it's, we're making sure that everything is in good working condition, that we can show buyers, hey, it's in great shape. And if it's not in great shape, we're gonna make sure that that's addressed before putting it on the market. Because the last thing you wanna do is put it on the market, get a home inspection, something big has happened, kicks out, and now you're tainted goods.
Got it. Next thing to go through after preparing is marketing. So our market is we're trying to get buyers looking in McLean to come to Vienna or buyers in Arlington to come to Oakton. We're trying to get buyers from outside of the market area to come to your market where the homes are at least 15% less expensive. If you go from 2.5 to 2 million, like our same size McLean is 2.5 and we're 2 million, we're trying to get the $2.5 million to come and look at this house. Just come on out to Oakton. It's amazing. Because they can't find the home they want at 2.5 in McLean. Not enough room, not nice enough. If you come out to Oakton, you can find that house. So right now, the one thing that's happening is that we've run into, amazingly, is exclusive listings. There are brokers that are talking about exclusive listings, just listed with their company. Why would you possibly go to a company that has a 2.5% market share and show all your listing to just them? Why would you eliminate 97% of the buyers that could be looking at your house? This is the most absurd thing I've had in the market. It's happening right now.
I just don't understand how you can turn it around as something positive. I'm still questioning how they are able to do that. It's impressive. But yeah, you want to show it to everyone. Not only do we want to show it to people who are looking in Vienna, we want to show it to people who aren't looking in Vienna, because there's a lot of people, like you had mentioned, that are coming in from out of town. They might not know Vienna. They might not know Oakton. They might be looking in McLean or Great Falls. So we need to go and target them to where they see a house pop up and they say, oh, okay, well, that's in Vienna. Let's go look at that. So we're dragging them in from other areas.
This house was somebody that you sold to somebody that wasn't even looking in Vienna.
Yep.
Let me just take you through really predictive analysis. This is the last part of this. If there's more competition, we are not sure if the buyer pool is out there for this house. You must do a predictive analysis. You must put it on coming soon at a number that's realistic. Not before we go, well, it could be 1.8, 1.85. Let's test 1.85 and we'll go to 1.8. Like is this house. Now you can't do that. We got to test 1.8. I'm not even sure they're 1.8. So the adjustment is now down $50,000 less than you thought it was. Okay? So in this house, this is one of Morgan's listings.
Yeah, so this, we did the predictive analysis, and when we were talking about pricing, we said, we know that the house is worth 1.9 easily, but the way that we're gonna get there, we're gonna start at 1.85, and if we have to, we'll drop to 1.8. So we went off at 1.85, no one was coming to see it, we didn't have any showing scheduled, so we had to have that hard talk with them of, hey, this is not the buyer pool, we've got to drop to 1.8 in order to get people in the door. And of course, they put up a fight, well, you said it was worth 1.9, and we still think that, we think it could be over that. However, we need as many people to get through the door as possible in order to get there. So they agreed, we dropped it to 1.8, and since we don't allow escalation clauses, we had multiple bids, and the winning bid was $2 million. So that's $200,000 over where we listed it.
It's
And
more
I think
than
it was
1.9.
like $150,000 over the next best one. But we wouldn't have gotten that $2 million sales price if we didn't drop it and get multiple people through the door.
And pull somebody in
and pull
from
someone
McLean.
in that wasn't even, looking in the area. They were coming in from out of town. So it saves us every time.
So again, more critical than ever to do the predictive analysis, more critical than ever to explain the market conditions, the inventory, the interest rates, the price people are paying. where we are in the market, and that we are at elevated prices right now, and they may fall, they may not, but they're certainly not going up. They may fall. So we'll see what happens. Thank you for listening to Coffee with Casey. My name is Casey Samson. I'm here with my
Coffee
lovely
with
daughter.
Casey and Morgan.
Oh, geez. This is what we in the business call a takeover. You know, you have 1 month where you're feeling a little down or something happens, and bam, the young bucks come in and take over. But thank you for spending some time with us. We appreciate you coming. We'll be here next week, I hope. Be here next week on Coffee with Casey. Bye now.
Bye.